They say some houses are simply wrong. It's not the peeling paint or the overgrown lawn. It's not the broken swing set or the rusting mailbox. It's something else. Something you feel in your bones the moment you step outside after dark and look up at that one attic window and realize someone's watching you. This is not just a campfire story. This is a true account from a quiet American neighborhood about what happened when my family moved next door to a house that was supposed to be abandoned. But it wasn't empty. Not really. When we moved to Asheville, North Carolina, I thought we were finally catching a break. After years of renting apartments in loud cities, Jenna and I had saved enough to buy a small home in a quiet cul-de-sac, perfect for raising our unborn daughter. The neighborhood had a kind of postcard charm. Tree-lined streets, friendly neighbors, kids riding bikes till sunset. The house we bought was 1713 Sycamore Lane. The one next door, 1711, had been on the market for years. It sat crooked on its foundation, with ivy climbing halfway up the siding. We asked the realtor why it hadn't sold. She said, "Old family property, estate tied up in legal stuff. Nobody's touched it in years." She brushed it off. It didn't bother us. Honestly, we liked the idea of no loud neighbors while we adjusted to our new life. That didn't last. It was our second week in the house. I was out front clipping the hedges when I felt that distinct sensation you get when someone's watching you. I glanced up. The attic window of 1711 was cracked open, and behind it stood a figure. He wasn't moving, just standing there, gaunt, pale, dressed in a dark shirt, with eyes that seemed too sunken for a living man. At first, I thought maybe a homeless person had broken in, but when I stepped toward the sidewalk for a better look, the window snapped shut, so fast it rattled. I called the non-emergency police line. They sent a patrol car to check it out. The officer was polite but dismissive. "No signs of entry, sir. The house is locked up tight." He told me the window might have moved from the wind. There was no wind that day. That night, our baby monitor turned on by itself. Static buzzed from the speaker at exactly 2:13 a.m. I figured it was a glitch, but it happened again and again, every night. At 2:13 a.m., we hadn't even finished the nursery. The monitor was sitting unplugged in a box. Then Jenna started waking up with nightmares. "He's in the window again," she'd whisper. "Only this time, he's not watching from his house. He's watching from ours." I tried to brush it off as stress. Moving, pregnancy, a new job, it was a lot. But then one night, I came home late and noticed muddy footprints leading from the sidewalk to our back porch. Too large for a child, too erratic to be from delivery personnel. I checked our ring cam footage. Around 2:14 a.m., the camera cut out, just blinked to black for exactly 1 minute. When it came back, the back porch light was swinging. No person ever showed up on screen. I demanded a second police check on 1711. This time, they brought a dog. The canine refused to go upstairs, whined, tail tucked, wouldn't budge. The officers eventually broke the attic lock. Inside was a single wooden chair, facing the window. Beneath it, dozens of old Polaroid photos. Photos of our house, our car, us eating dinner, sleeping on the couch, Jenna on the porch holding her belly. "How old are these?" I asked. One officer flipped a photo over. It was dated 2 days prior. The problem was, there was no power in 1711, no utilities, and no one had keys. Or so we thought. That night, the noises started, scratching under the floors, soft tapping on the glass, whispers barely audible but always at 2:13 a.m. I nailed our attic hatch shut. I sealed the vents. We stopped sleeping. I drank 3 cups of coffee just to keep from nodding off at work. Then Jenna started bleeding. She wasn't due for another month. Doctors said it was stress-induced complications. We knew the truth. Something was trying to get in. 2 nights later, the attic light in 1711 blinked on. I saw it from our bedroom window. Called 911 immediately. As I spoke with dispatch, flames erupted. From the roof, out the windows, choking black smoke. The entire top floor was engulfed. Firefighters arrived within minutes, but by then, the attic was ashes. Miraculously, the rest of the house sustained minimal damage. And the chair? Still there, untouched by flame. After that, we fled, packed what we could, and moved in with Jenna's sister 3 towns over. But strange things followed. I started finding Polaroids in our mailbox, new ones, photos of our new home, of us. And one night, as I was locking the back door, I glanced up and saw a window across the street, attic level. It was open. A man stood inside, and he was smiling.
You ever work late in a quiet office building and get that weird feeling, like you're being watched, even though you're the only one there? I used to laugh at people who believed in ghost stories, until the night I rode the elevator to a floor that shouldn't exist. And when the doors opened, I realized some places were never meant to be seen. I swear this story is real, and if you're ever in downtown Chicago, near Franklin and Wacker, maybe, just maybe, don't take the elevator alone. I got the job after 6 months of unemployment. You know, one of those dry spells where your savings slowly vanish and you start questioning every choice you ever made. It was a tech consulting firm called Novatech Solutions, located in a glossy corporate tower downtown, 38 floors of concrete, glass, and silence. They put me on the night shift in IT security, patching servers, reviewing system logs, making sure no one accidentally deleted critical data. The hours were awful. 7 p.m. to 5 a.m., but the pay was decent. Plus, I'd always been kind of a night owl anyway. My first week went by without incident. Just me, a few maintenance guys, and the occasional intern burning midnight oil. The building had a strange way of swallowing sound. though even with my earbuds in, I felt like I could hear the hum of every fluorescent light. And then there was the elevator. There were 4 main elevators and 1 service lift that only activated with a key card. The directory near the lobby listed every floor. I remember staring at it the first night because something felt off. Floors 1 through 12, then 14 through 38. No 13th floor. Just skipped it entirely. I'd seen that before. Superstitious architecture. Apparently, some tenants didn't like the idea of working on the 13th floor. Bad luck, ancient myths, whatever. It was silly, but common. Still, the elevator panel was weird. It didn't skip from 12 to 14. It had a button marked 13. Small, barely visible, like it had been added as an afterthought, or maybe never meant to be seen. I pressed it once out of curiosity. Nothing happened. The button lit up for a second, then went dead. I figured it was just a glitch in the system, but that wasn't the last time I'd see it. It was a Wednesday night, around 3:40 a.m. I was alone on the 26th floor, running backups on a misbehaving server. Everything had been quiet until I got an alert from the security panel. Unauthorized elevator movement, level 13. I blinked. Level 13? I called maintenance. Hey Russ, anyone else here tonight? Nope, just you, man. I'm home. Shift ended hours ago. You ever see a level 13 in the elevators? Russ went silent. Don't mess with that, man. Seriously, just let it go. Click. The line went dead. The next night, I stayed late intentionally. I wanted to test it. I got into elevator 2, alone, after 3 a.m. I pressed 13. The button lit up and stayed lit. The elevator started moving, humming softly as it descended past 14, then 13. It stopped. The doors slid open. I should have walked away, but something pulled me forward, like a magnet behind my chest, yanking me out of the elevator and onto the floor that shouldn't exist. It looked wrong. No walls, just concrete pillars, bare wires, and dusty equipment scattered around as if construction had been abandoned decades ago. The lights were dim, yellowed, flickering. Every footstep echoed too loud. I walked in slowly, calling out, "Hello?" No answer. I turned to go back, but the elevator was gone. Not the doors, the whole damn shaft, just smooth wall where it had been. That's when I saw the flicker of movement at the far end of the floor.
There was an office, but not like any in our building. Old wood paneling, a green desk lamp, and a phone that looked straight out of the 1960s. I stepped closer and noticed the brass plaque on the door. Dr. Julian R. Helm, Department of Timekeeping. There's no department by that name at Novatech. The door creaked open. Inside were dozens of filing cabinets, clocks that ticked out of sync, and a black and white portrait of a man with eyes scratched out. I turned to leave, and the hallway behind me had changed. There were now doors on either side, all closed, all numbered 13A, 13B, 13C to 13Z. Something was pacing behind one of them, scraping, shuffling. I ran. I don't remember finding the elevator again. I just remembered the sound. It was like a chorus of whispering voices overlapping each other. I couldn't make out what they said, except for one thing I swear I heard. You were never meant to see this. The elevator was there, just different. The walls were covered in mirrors, and in every reflection, I looked slightly off. Wrong. One version of me was smiling when I wasn't. Another was bleeding from the eyes. I stepped inside, hit the lobby button, and the elevator climbed instead of going down. I woke up on the lobby couch. My manager was shaking me. "You okay? Found you passed out by the elevators." I tried to explain. The missing floor, the file room, the man in the portrait. He looked confused. "There's no 13th floor here," he said. "There never was, not even a blank level." I quit that day. Later, I looked up Dr. Julian R. Helm. He existed. Used to run a research lab that rented out part of the same tower back in the 60s. His team disappeared in 1969, never found. The only thing left behind? A blueprint for the building showing a hidden 13th floor that was sealed after a fire and never spoken of again. So if you ever find yourself in a tall office building working late and you see a button that doesn't belong there, don't press it. Because some doors don't just lead to rooms, they lead to something else. And once you go through, you might never come back the same. You ever get that strange feeling like someone's watching you from the back seat? Only when you turn around, there's no one there? That's exactly what started happening to me. And trust me, I've driven rideshare for 5 years. I've seen drunk college kids, cheating spouses, paranoid executives, and people too high to know what planet they're on. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the night I picked up a passenger who had already disappeared. It started like any other Thursday night in Nashville. I clocked into the app around 9:30 p.m., filled up on cheap gas, and started picking up a few bar crawlers and late-night office workers heading home. The usual vibe. My car, an old silver Toyota Camry with more miles than it should have, was clean and warm. Spotify set to a chill lo-fi playlist, passenger mints in the console. Good reviews keep the tips flowing. Around 11:45 p.m., I got a ping. Pickup, corner of 5th and Monroe. Drop-off, residential address in East End. Passenger's name, Danielle. I hit accept and rolled up within 3 minutes. She was already standing there, in the pool of a flickering street lamp. Looked mid-20s, brown shoulder-length hair, black hoodie, jeans, small purse. She waved when she saw me and slid into the back seat. "Hey," she said quietly. "Hey there." I nodded. "Danielle?" "Yeah. Thanks for coming so fast." Her voice was soft, not scared, but tired, like she'd had a long night. "No problem," I said. You want music or silence? She half smiled. Silence is fine. So we drove. 10, maybe 12 minutes tops. It was late, so there wasn't much traffic. I kept checking the rearview mirror, glancing at her. She wasn't texting, wasn't on her phone, just staring out the window. But then, I noticed something weird. When we hit a red light, the mirror fogged up, just on her side, like a breath mark, but she hadn't said a word. I wiped it clean, shrugged it off, and kept driving. Eventually, we pulled up to the house. A modest place. Porch light was on, one of those quiet cul-de-sacs that always feels a little too dark. You sure this is it? I asked. She nodded again. But she didn't get out of the car right away. She stared at the house, and then she said something I'll never forget. I don't remember what it looks like inside. That's when I turned around. She was gone. Seatbelt unbuckled, door still locked, like she'd never been in the car. I sat there, heart pounding in my throat. I even reached back, ran my hand along the seat. It was cold, too cold, like the warmth had been sucked right out of the leather. I checked the app. It showed the ride was complete, charged, tip received. It even showed 5 stars from Danielle. I stared at that screen for a full minute before pulling away. No way, that ride didn't happen? Or at least not like I thought it did. But I was tired. Maybe I imagined her leaving. Maybe she slipped out quickly. Maybe I just blacked out for a second. Yeah, that was the logical answer. Except it wasn't. Because the next night, things got worse. It was almost midnight when I got another ping. Pickup, downtown, near the Plaza Fountain. Name, Danielle. Same name, same pickup time, same drop-off location. I stared at my phone. My thumb hovered over the screen. I didn't want to take it, but I did. She was there again, standing under the same flickering street lamp, same clothes, same expression. She got in the car and didn't say a word. Danielle? I said slowly. Do you remember me? She looked at me in the mirror. Blank stare. No. Why? No reason, I said, heart pounding. We drove in silence again. Same fog on the mirror, same chill in the air, same house. And again she stared at it and said, I don't remember what it looks like inside. I turned around to look at her. Gone. This time, I didn't just shake it off. I called support, told them something was wrong with my app. My rides were glitching. They said all the rides were logged correctly, no errors. They even read back her profile. Danielle Meyer, age 26, frequent rider, no complaints. But the next part sent chills up my spine. They said she'd been picked up 3 times in the past week by 3 different drivers. Each one had her vanish during the ride. Each one filed a passenger no-show, but the ride still completed. And when I asked if they'd contacted Danielle, they said her phone was disconnected. So I did something stupid. I drove back to that house in East End. I needed answers. I knocked on the door. A middle-aged man answered, holding a mug of tea, sleepy-eyed, confused. Sorry to bother you, I began. Does a Danielle Meyer live here? His face twisted. He looked over his shoulder and called out, Lena, it's about Danielle again.
A woman joined him at the door. Her eyes were puffy. "She passed away," she said softly. "Almost a year ago now." My stomach dropped. Car accident, late night rideshare. The driver never showed. They said she wandered into traffic trying to walk home. I couldn't speak. "She used to live here," the mother added. "Still does, in some ways." I left before I could cry. I stopped driving for a week. But something kept pulling me back. Call it guilt or curiosity or something deeper. So I logged in one last time, midnight sharp, and wouldn't you know it, ping, Danielle. I didn't hesitate. When I pulled up to the corner, she was already waiting. But this time, she looked different, calmer, sadder. She got in the back seat and spoke first. "I think I keep getting lost." "I think so too," I whispered. This time I didn't ask questions. I just drove. And when we reached the house, she didn't stare or speak. She smiled. "I remember now," she said, then vanished, just like before. I don't drive nights anymore. But sometimes, when I pass that old street lamp, I swear I still see her there, waiting. Not for a ride, but for someone to remember she existed. So the next time your driver gets a weird chill or glances at you too often in the mirror, just ask yourself, are they seeing someone who isn't there? Or are you the one who never made it home?